Predictions for the second round, where it's basically a contest against myself to see how wrong I can be. My 2020 playoff predictions have been very 2020. Let's see how I do in round 2, or round 3, depending on how you look at it. And by depending on how you look at it, I mean whether you're right or wrong. This is the second round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs that followed the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs and the playoff qualifying round. Let's start in the East with the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, would you look at that? After trying to galaxy brain everything and Boston doesn't look very good in the round robin and Tampa against Columbus, you never know, they might do it again. After all of that, the two best teams in the Eastern Conference throughout the regular season face off against each other in the second round. This was a big complaint about the playoff format, is Boston and Tampa could be the two best teams in the Eastern Conference and they would have to play each other in the second round. And then the pandemic happened and they came up with a completely different playoff format and they're playing each other anyway. Two teams that are extremely strong, but with their flaws, and took time to find their stride. The Bruins' perfection line didn't look very perfect early on. In fact, David Pastrnak wasn't even in the lineup for a big chunk. And the Bruins are without Tuukka Rask, who was fantastic in last year's Stanley Cup playoffs on their run to the Stanley Cup final. But anyone who was like, oh, the Bruins are screwed without Tuukka Rask, simply haven't watched the Boston Bruins this year or last. Jaroslav Halak has barely been a backup goaltender. Like, typically he's Boston's second option, but he's played well enough that he might be able to start for a bunch of teams in this league. Now, for the past few games, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and both of them had to play in an 8-period hockey game that went 5 overtimes. And it was difficult to see the effects of fatigue on account of both teams were equally fatigued and playing against each other. But what I wondered from the moment that game happened, even though it was game 1, I said, I wonder if this affects whoever wins this series going forward. I guess we're about to find out. To me, the Tampa Bay Lightning are arguably the best team on paper in the entire National Hockey League, but on paper doesn't always translate onto the ice. The Boston Bruins, on the other hand, have a lot of championship DNA still left over from 2011, and even if you discount that, they made it to the Cup final in 2013. In 2019, they know how to go deep. The Tampa Bay Lightning had a pretty physical opponent in the Columbus Blue Jackets in round 1. The Bruins not so much, but it's not like the Bruins forgot how to, hit. For the sake of hockey, there were no 7-game series in the first round. Can this one, between the two best teams in the Eastern Conference, please go 7? Please, for hockey fans everywhere, we deserve this series to go 7. I gotta pick a team. Really difficult. I'm going to say the Boston Bruins, just because they seem to be heating up. We'll stay in the East for our next series. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the New York Islanders. Two teams with orange in their color scheme. And two teams I have greatly changed my opinion on as these playoffs have worn on. For both the Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Islanders, I was way too much in my pre-pandemic head. The Philadelphia Flyers were probably the best team in the entire NHL leading into the break in mid-March. The New York Islanders, on the other hand, big additions at the trade deadline, but they were in the middle of a huge tank and probably en route to missing the playoffs entirely. And now that I've seen both teams play enough, I'm not sure those teams are the ones that we have before us. You gotta give the Montreal Canadiens credit for pushing the Flyers to 6 games. That series should not have gone to 6 games, and they did a good job, the Montreal Canadiens did, of making the Flyers look mortal. The New York Islanders, on the other hand, clinical. Absolutely clinical the way they dismantled the Washington Capitals. Dismantled them, made them look awful. And my eureka moment, because again, I'm looking on paper and I'm like, the Washington Capitals should absolutely beat the Islanders, and then I thought, Barry Trotz. What I thought heading into these playoffs is that really systems-heavy teams are going to struggle because they're not going to be crisp after all those months off. Barry Trotz and the Islanders are proving the exact opposite. Their only flaw is supposedly the Islanders can't score. Well, I got news for you. There is a 5-way tie for the league's leading goal scorer in these playoffs. Only one of them is in the Eastern Conference with 6 goals. Anthony Beauvillier. The Flyers are no pushovers. Carter Hart's been one of the better goalies in these playoffs, and I think they're going to make it a miserable time for the Islanders, but I think the Islanders just continue to suffocate them, and they take this series. I'm going to say in 6. Let's go to the West. Do I dare do the Dallas-Colorado series? Of their Flame series, it's a recap, and they had me picking the Flames in 5 in the video. So I'm kind of afraid to go against them. Anton Khudobin is an amazing goalie, but not having Ben Bishop hurts. I bet you'll be pretty surprised to know that 2 players on the Dallas Stars are tied for the league lead in goals with 6, and they are Joe Pavelski and Denis Gurianov, who I picked as my breakout player on March 11th. Yeah, that video got delayed a bit. No, really, I shot that video for the NHL's Instagram account like an hour or 2 before the NBA season was postponed. But another one of the league's leading goal scorers is Nazem Kadri, who's having an unbelievable Conn Smythe Kadri playoffs. Penaltyless Kadri. He does not have a penalty. And Nathan MacKinnon leading the league in overall points, and he's probably just the best player left in these playoffs. Do you want to play him? Do you want to fight him? So the Dallas Stars have me very gun-shy of going against them. I really don't want to. But Colorado was my Stanley Cup pick. Like, to make it to the Stanley Cup final before the season and before these playoffs. I just think they're the best team in the West. So I have to pick them. I'm going to pick them in 6. And to the Dallas Stars, you have my full permission to use this in your next video too, when you go to the Western Conference Final. Last series in the West, a battle of 2 teams with V in their city name for the first time ever in NHL history. I made that up, but I assume it's true. The Vegas Golden Knights, we're going to pretend it's not Las Vegas, against the Vancouver Canucks. Hello, Vancouver Canucks. Surprised to see you here. But not that surprised. I did pick the St. Louis Blues to beat the Vancouver Canucks. They were the reigning Stanley Cup champions. You can't really blame me for picking them. However, dating back to last summer, and even heading into that series against the Blues, I've been bullish on the Vancouver Canucks. People talk about the contracts on the team, and oh my god, you gave up a first-round pick for JT Miller. Listen, we can talk about the contracts, we can talk about the price of that trade. The players on this team are very good, and they're a good hockey team. The young guys, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes setting records. The little bit older guys, Bo Horvat has been a leader. JT Miller has been a leader, and Jake Markstrom has been a brick wall in net. And now their depth is clicking too. Don't sleep on the Vancouver Canucks. Now here's the problem though. They run into the Vegas Golden Knights. And once again, I'm faced with a team that I have bet against, and I kind of think they're going to lose again, but how do I do it? Okay, here's how I'm going to justify my pick. I've seen all the experts pick the Vegas Golden Knights. They're the better team analytically. They did better during the regular season. They're a wagon. The Vegas Golden Knights are unbelievable, and with the addition of Robin Lehner, it is not fair. With Mark Stone, it is not fair. That team is not fair. That's why I'm picking the Vancouver Canucks, and they're going to win this thing in 7, gosh darn it. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. I've been sniffing around the NHL looking for the team of 2020, because we always say a weird team is going to win this year because it's the year of weird. Canucks fans, wouldn't this be the year that they do it? Come on. So, those are my picks that are probably wrong, but I'm sticking to them. The Bruins, the Islanders, the Avalanche, and the Canucks. Who do you have? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Yeah, I know it's August, but the playoffs are on. Where have you been?